All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about something called the teacher's edge. It's all about how to master objectivity and stay in control, especially when things get, well, chaotic. And this applies to anyone who leads or mentors, not just teachers.
Think about it. Every great idea, every lesson plan, it starts with the spark of creativity. But right there with it is emotion, yours and the emotions of the people you're leading. And managing that whole emotional climate, that is one of the hardest and most important parts of the job.
So, let me ask you this. What's the most powerful tool you can have in a classroom? It's not the smartboard, it's not the curriculum. Nope. According to all the research we're digging into, it's the teacher's own state of mind. It's your ability to stay objective and in control no matter what's thrown at you.
So here's our game plan. We're going to talk about something called the objectivity advantage. Then we'll break down how you can master your inner game and your outer game. And finally, we'll see how to put it all together to meet students exactly where they are.
Okay, let's dive into this first big idea, the objectivity advantage. This is really about how to be the calm center in the middle of a storm. Because let's be real, a classroom can feel like a storm sometimes.
Now, when we say objectivity, it's so important to get this right. We're not talking about being an emotionless robot. It's actually a really delicate balance. It's about combining dominance, and think of that as just clear leadership, with cooperation, which is all about building those strong relationships. It's being that steady, reliable leader everyone can count on.
And get this isn't just some nice, fluffy idea. The research is super clear on this. Teachers who find that sweet spot, not overly warm and fuzzy, but not cold and distant either, their students actually have greater achievement gains. So this skill directly impacts learning. It's a game changer.
So, how do we do it? How do we actually become that steady leader? Well, it all has to start from the inside, which brings us to our next section, mastering your inner game.
Luckily, this is broken down into 4 really practical steps. It's a whole process that starts with self-reflection, moves to monitoring your own thoughts, figuring out your emotional triggers, and then, crucially, practicing self-care.
Self-reflection is where you have to be really honest with yourself. At the end of the day, you ask those tough questions. Was I fair? Was I consistent with consequences? Did I acknowledge the good stuff or just the bad? It's about holding up a mirror to find what you can improve tomorrow.
Self-monitoring is more of a proactive thing. It's about taking a minute, maybe before class even starts, and mentally running through your students. If you notice you're having negative thoughts about someone, you consciously work to reframe them. You're basically hitting the reset button on your own perspective.
And this just proves that self-care isn't a luxury, it's an absolute necessity for this job. And it doesn't have to be a big production. It can be something small, right in the moment, like taking a few deep breaths. Or it can be those bigger, long-term habits, like sleep and exercise, that really protect your mental energy.
Okay, so you've done the internal work. Now, how does that actually look on the outside? Let's shift gears and talk about mastering your outer game, how you project that calm and control to everyone else.
We've all seen these 2 common pitfalls, right? There's the passive style, where you avoid conflict at all costs and then feel like you're being walked all over. And then there's the aggressive style, which defaults to blaming and punishing. Neither of these really works in the long run.
But here is the goal, the assertive style. Look at the difference. It's not about blaming yourself and it's not about blaming others. It's about clearly and respectfully standing up for your beliefs and expectations without steamrolling anyone else. And what does that lead to? A relationship built on actual mutual respect.
When you nail that assertive style, you develop what the source material calls a cool exterior. This just means you can stay calm on the outside, even when things are tense. You project it through your body language, your posture, and keeping a steady, respectful tone of voice.
So what's a huge tool for keeping that cool exterior? Active listening. And I mean real active listening, not just waiting for your turn to talk. It's a whole process. You can see the steps here. It's about making eye contact, acknowledging what they're saying, and then summarizing it back to them to make sure you understood. The whole point is to make the other person feel truly heard. It's a powerful de-escalation tool.
So these different behaviors tend to fall into 5 main communication styles. We might see a little bit of ourselves in some of these, like the avoider or maybe even the bulldozer on a bad day. But the clear goal, the one we're aiming for, is to be that assertive connector.
All right, so this is where the rubber really meets the road. We have all these skills. Now, how do we apply them to different kinds of students with their own unique needs?
Okay, let's take the passive student.
This is the kid who's often quiet, maybe a little fearful, they're worried about getting things wrong. For them, your calm, non-judgmental approach is everything. It literally tells them, hey, it's safe to take a risk here.
Now, what about the aggressive student? So often they're acting out because they don't feel seen or valued. Your objective response is so powerful here because it separates their behavior from who they are. You can correct the action while still showing them you value them as a person.
With a student who has trouble paying attention, it is so easy to get frustrated. We've all been there. But an objective mindset helps you shift your energy away from showing frustration and toward providing support. The question becomes, how can I help you focus instead of why can't you focus?
And then there's the perfectionist. This student is absolutely terrified of making a mistake. By staying calm and objective when they do make errors, you're modeling a healthy relationship with failure. You're showing them that mistakes aren't just okay, they're how we learn.
And finally, for the student who might be socially awkward or just hasn't figured out the unwritten rules yet, your patience and control are key. It creates a low-pressure zone where your actions can focus on encouraging their growth instead of judging them for where they are right now. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this question to really think about. Look back at your own experience. Picture one of your toughest moments. Which one of these strategies, your inner game, your outer game, or meeting a student where they are, could have completely changed that entire situation? It's a powerful thing to consider.